What's going on, everybody? Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Wednesday, I made a video talking about Powell's hawkish remarks. Okay, two of them that really stood out was to investors was no rate cuts in 2023, and the terminal rate is going from that expected about 4.75 to 5% up to about 5.1 to 5.4%. Now, a lot of times when Jerome Powell is done speaking, we get a little bit of that Powell pump that could potentially lead to a Powell dump. And I mentioned that in Wednesday's video. Wednesday, the market closed very weak. Okay. And as you can see, Thursday, Friday came and we just knifed down. Now, I do want to point a couple things out. All right. It seems like we stair step to the upside. Okay. I'll zoom out just a little bit further. We slowly stair step to the upside. We have a couple economic events. Then all of a sudden, when we hit that resistance, it's just straight knife down. You know, stair up, elevator down. Now, I will mention to you, we went all the way from a high of that 414 down to about 381 in a very short period of time. Okay. We also have broken through this 394 to 400, box that I've talked about for probably going all the way back to early November. We had a couple fake breakouts to the upside, a couple fake breakdowns, but in reality, that 394 to 400 we were glued to. Okay, a lot of support in that area. We knifed through it. It would not surprise me for the market to curl back around, shorts to take some profit, bulls to try to step in and really go retest some of those levels before we make another leg down. All right, now if you are looking at this on a larger time frame, you look at this weekly candle as you see right here. It is a massive red heavy selling candle, and generally going back that we don't just see one of these massive red candles, that it continues over the next coming weeks. That's longer term. That's the next 2 to 3 4 weeks potentially. You can go back and look at some of these candles for references as well. But to see a little bit of retest early next week, maybe the bulls try to come back and get a small potential Santa rally just to go retest some of those levels would not be surprising. But in this video, I want to talk about something that I figured I would mention to everybody, because every Saturday morning I do my weekly recaps. I go over what trades worked for me, what trades didn't work for me, what mistakes I might have made, what I can continue to do better. Okay. And one thing I always focus on is not how much I can make off a trade. Okay. It's how much I can lose off of a trade. Okay. What is my risk? I never want to be putting in capital to where my downside outweighs my upside. Okay. Over time, you might get lucky. You might have a good streak, but over time, when your downside outweighs your upside, that's not good for business. Okay. Eventually it will catch up and it will lead to the downside. So what I've been doing, for the past, few years is I plan my trades. Okay. And I look for exact points that I want to enter these trades. Now, if it does not happen, that's fine. I have multiple tickers I look at and we continue to move on. Now, I made a SPY video talking about my levels, okay, and especially the levels that I have over on TradingView. And I had stated that I find these levels off daily and weekly pivot points. Okay, I make them on SPY, QQQ, and a couple other specific tickers, and that's over on TradingView. And what I'd said to some people in that video was there are certain days where my levels will be very well respected. They will bounce off those levels. They will break through, retest, move. I know how to trade around them. And then there are other days where the levels are completely disrespected, maybe just on SPY, but they'll be respected on QQQ, or maybe on both tickers, they'll just completely be respected. And that's okay. I don't go changing my levels. I don't say my levels are wrong, okay? Because I know how to trade around them. And it's all about being able to formulate a plan that works for you. So this is a trade recap. I want to go over this with you guys, and hopefully it'll be able to help you out. We've talked, on this channel and inside the group for quite some time that, breakouts are failing, okay? Breakouts are failing. For me, it seems to be like over 50%. For somebody else, it might be even higher or lower. But for me, it's about 50 to 60% of the time, breakouts are failing. And when you're buying options contracts, once that breakout hits, whatever contract you're looking at, that premium spikes hard, okay? And if you are getting into it, even like I do, I get in 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, I average into my position. Sometimes by the time the setup is proven to fail, your contracts are down, 40, 50%, maybe even 60%, depending on when your expiration is. And the risk to reward hasn't been there. And I've talked about looking for these reversals, trying to get in on these, really focusing on reversals because the risk to reward is better. Okay. And you are looking to buy in the opposite trend. But the point of the matter is when you're buying in the opposite trend, prices of the contract is already decreasing, that by the time it breaks through and you look at your setups failed, you're not going to be down that 40, 50, 60%. You're going to be down maybe 10, 15, 20, 25%. Okay. However, if it does, work for you, you're going to be up, 40, 50, 60%. And it's a much better risk reward. Okay. So this is going over in NVIDIA. All right. I had posted to everybody inside, the group about 20 minutes before market open. I kind of went over a little bit of my thesis, why this 383 level was important. It's actually more important focusing on the futures levels. And I was trying to correlate that price point because the futures contracts have rolled over to March, and there now is a 30-point difference between futures and SPX. That's where that 383 level area kind of comes from. But the number one pick was NVIDIA. I had said, above 166, okay, or this is actually a typo, below 89.50, but I said over 171 is what it needs for a bigger move. Really hesitant to try to buy those breakouts, but I will short at 170 if we do see some rejection at those levels. So I go back on NVIDIA, and I could see on Thursday, right at the market open, we had some down wicks over here that shows that there are some buyers present at that level. But when you see this massive top wick up here, the sellers were much stronger. Okay, it's also below the 200 EMA, which is something I'm looking for more downside, and even below the dark blue, which is the 21 EMA, indicating even more downside that potential that I am looking for. Okay, it knifed through that level, it came back up, it tried to retest it a little bit towards the afternoon. Obviously it wasn't exact, it's just a little bit higher, and it still failed. We broke through overnight. So I was like, and I know the way NVIDIA plays. I pretty much play it, well, not every day, but it's pretty much on the list almost every single day. I know the personality of the stock, and that's why I continue to play. I said, listen, if it gets back up to that 170 level, right where I have my line, I'm going to look to go short at rejection. Okay. And that's exactly what happened. So let me just give you a little of an overview. I was looking for the 165 puts at this time. The reason being is because 160 was just a little bit low. If you're not charting options contracts, I've talked about this, numerous times. Please do it. Please check it out. See if it works for you in your strategy. Okay, options premiums have ranges too, as you can see by looking at this chart, even though obviously my face is cutting off some of it. They do have their ranges. So this was the premium contract, and I'll zoom it up a little bit more for you guys just to kind of give you an area. So I noticed that once, obviously, because it had spiked up just a little bit at that time, I was looking to get into it. It came into about that 950 range. So kind of spiked up. All right, had a little bit of that retest when we came down here, bounced off that 167.82 level that I have also as another level of support, came back down, and here we are. We're sitting around this price range of around 250 to 260. Okay, now you can see that it acted as support towards that end of day where we bounced off of, and I was looking to get right in there. So when you're trying to buy a reversal, your stops are going to be at the fail of this. So I got into this, I averaged into it. I was a little bit early, something around like a 2.9, got in at 2.8. I think I added again actually over 3. So it really wasn't the best execution. And that's something that I looked at in, my weekly recaps of trying to be able to just be a little bit slower and a little bit more patient. Sometimes I try a little bit too hard to get my full fill, that I don't wait for the best prices to be able to enter into. And I was a little bit early on this, and that's okay. That's something I can continue to work on. But my cut was going to be once we broke below that 250 level. Okay, not only would it have pulled on the contract, but we also probably would have broken above this level. The market probably had, it did seem like it wanted to recover a little bit because we had a few massive red days. And also really would have indicated strength. I know the personality of NVIDIA, and we probably would have continued to rally somewhere around that 175 range before it topped out. So my risk to reward, okay, now obviously I don't know what my reward is going to be. We don't know if it's going to knife all the way down to 160. We don't know if it's going to bounce, at this 167 again and then make another move to the upside. But my risk wasn't that bad. I was getting in somewhere around that 2.8, 2.9. My cut was going to be, below 250, which means my contracts are going to go maybe, 20% to the downside. And I know if this works out for me, it's, NVIDIA's, potentially move. I can probably scale out sometime at this level, continue to make even move further, that my risk to reward was there. Okay. And it was much better opportunity than trying to, say buy a breakout after it already moves to the downside. Okay. So I'll continue to make videos, guys. Leave a comment. I know this, might sound a little bit, weird to you guys if you aren't into charting your options contracts. Check it out. I'll make another video on it. I've made other videos before on it. You can go back and look through my channel. Leave a comment if you have any questions, guys. I'll see you in the next one.